Candidates that have been fielded, a candidate that will, lead them as their governor in the next 4 years. And we are coming to you live from Abuja studios of King Adebayo Film and Theatre Arts Network, commonly referred to as KAFTAN TV. At this auspicious point, we are going to open our telephone line so that
Good afternoon. Good morning. Good morning, Samson. How are you? It's sunny here. It's sunny here. It looks like afternoon. Oh, really? Let's go straight. Are you guys ready? Please look at that. Please look at that. This side. Thank you. Check.
official, right?
Far so good. It has been running smoothly. We opened polls very early, about 1.5 hours before the official time, and voters turned out because we promised the people of Ondo State that we will wait for them at the polling units. Voters will not wait for us. The Beavers machines are working optimally. We have all our materials in sufficient quantity, and people are voting seamlessly.
Can you tell us the report you are getting across the state regarding beavers and the exercise generally?
Generally, on beavers, maybe I've had just about 2 complaints, and our RATEC quickly solved the problem. But generally, over 97% have received very good reports.
Everyone's on you, but I'm shooting contest on you. Yes, yes.
INEC can go about in terms of correcting some of these gaps?
You know, the entire institution called Independent National Electoral Commission has become so corrupted that one begin to ask, from where are we going to begin to correct the abnormalities that has been practiced over the years? For me, I think as long as we are practicing presidential democracy, it will linger, it will continue, because the presidential democracy makes the president a dictator, a constitutional dictator of some sort. He is the one that appoints the INEC officials, and he that hires also has the right to fire.
Yeah.
So no one wants to lose his meal. So when the president had hired an INEC chairman, the INEC chairman would do everything possible to make sure that he satisfies the president and his party. That's one problem. If we must get it right, therefore, the president supposed not to be responsible for the appointment of electoral officers. The parliament should have a way of influencing who is appointed to head that democratic institution called INEC. The president should not have any business whatsoever. And you know, in the parliament, you have 109 senators and 366 yes, members of House of Rep. You are not answerable to any one person. It is the collection of parliamentarians made up of different parties. So no one would have influence over the electoral empire. If we still allow the presidency to be in charge of the appointment, hiring the electoral officers, we should not begin to think that it is going to happen in our generation, where you would believe that the electoral umpires will be unbiased. They will certainly tilt towards the ruling party. The only man that have tried to disobey the man that hired him ended ingloriously. That was Professor Humphrey Mosu, who chaired the Electoral Commission. And the president was dictating. The man was going on to do what the Constitution requires him to do, something that is unspoken. And that means if you take that type of risk, be ready to beat yourself by as far as public office is concerned, because no one wants to hire anyone that is insubordinate to him.
Okay. Well, let's shift gears now to something that is, becoming like an integral part of our electioneering process, and that has to do with violence, election violence. More often than not, when we hold elections in Nigeria, hardly could you hear that the elections went, devoid of glitches in terms of election violence perpetrated either by the political parties themselves or, thugs employed and paid by the political parties as cannon fodder to foment trouble. But before we come to the studio to do that, we're going to take a short report to take a look at election violence in Nigeria, with particular emphasis on the ongoing election, of Ondo State in Akure. Please take a listen.
The influence of violent electoral contention on citizens for the constraining principles of a liberal democratic order will be conditional on whether they support the ruling regime or the opposition. However, no matter which side they stand, it is a rape of democracy.
I believe it's working in Nigeria because everybody has his own freedom. We have freedom of movement, freedom of speech. So I believe democracy is working in Nigeria.
It's not working well. It's not working well at all. Our leaders should even try to find ways out for the masses to alleviate these difficulties, because things are too difficult for the masses. So masses are suffering. So our leaders are not, our political leaders are not performing very well. They are not performing very well during their campaigns. They don't fulfill what they are saying. So they don't fulfill what they are saying at all. So democracy is not working well.
Potential leaders subvert democratic norms and institutions when they engage young Nigerians to help them rig elections through violence. These actions on the long run ruins the bountiful harvest of democracy, leaving the people constantly impoverished.
My thought is that on that day, everybody should go out and vote for their person we like to be our choice.
Violence can put things into, can put them into the office through crooked ways, so that, but we don't want it, because if they get there, it means they don't even get there in a proper way. They don't get there in a proper way. So violence even can't help to put the right to put the right persons on seats in a position.
Citizens must realize that when they put leaders in power through violence, they should be ready to pay the price through years of want, lack, and hardship.
You're welcome back. If you are just joining us, you are on to Ondo Decides 2024, coming to you live from the Abuja studios of King Adebayo Film and Theatre Arts Network, commonly referred to as KAFTAN TV. And I'm not alone. My name is Macaulay Honohashi. Still with me in the studios is my colleague, Ekaite, and Dr. Obadiah Mbila, a communications specialist, CEO, Love Work Media, as well as political analyst. Before we went on that short break, we took a very short report on election violence. You know, I was asking you, election violence is like becoming a new normal in Nigeria, because hardly, you know, could you hear of elections in Nigeria, and it is entirely, you know, free of security breaches or glitches. And now, and also, it comes with deployment of so much number of security personnel. And let me inform you of this one, which you are aware of. The Inspector General of Police has deployed DIG, that's Deputy Inspector General of Police Sylvester Igwe, Sylvester Abiodun Alabi as the coordinating DIG for the election, tasked with overseeing the implementation of the police security strategies to maintain law and order throughout the election period, while Assistant Inspector General of Police, you know, Bennett Igwe, and Commissioner of Police Tunji Disu are deployed as AIG and Commissioner of Police elections, you know, respectively, to ensure peace. You know, in addition to that, you know, Nigerian Customs Service, Nigerian Correctional Service, Nigerian Immigration Service, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Federal Road Safety Corps, and the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency will be on duty at each polling unit and voting point in the state, with a total deployment of 22,236 security officers. Is it war? Why did you chuckle, Dr. Mila?
I just love the
I ended it?
because
it sounds like war.
When you were
an election of less than 12 hours,
listing down the what's correctional service doing in the?
I don't understand.
What is customs doing there? Are they going to look for illegal PVCs or what? You see,
the way we do things in this country, sometimes they're so hilarious that you begin to wonder.
We are the one that creates negative image for ourselves and the way we portray our country out there. I have no doubt that we need police to monitor the election, not just on every election. We need the police. We also need the Civil Defense Corps. But I don't think these other agencies are necessary. Drug, in case there may be
customs
people that are selling drugs around
might
the
be important, but
polling booths.
Customs.
It makes no sense.
In fact,
and all these ones,
I forgot to mention the Nigerian Navy.
Imagine
is supporting the efforts by providing gunboats for transporting materials.
Don't forget that they are budgeted for.
Difficult to reach locations. Yeah, they are budgeted.
They are budgeted for. Now, does the overpopulating the election, the state with all these security officials, does it really nib the possibility of violence?
Okay.
It doesn't. It doesn't. Mind you, the political parties that are involved also have their own election budget.
Okay, let's take this caller. On that budgetary note, let's take this caller. Hello, good afternoon. You're on to Ondo Decides 2024, live from Abuja studios of KAFTAN TV. Your name, please, and where you're calling from. Alhaji Abdullahi, could you verbalize your thoughts for us this afternoon, please? Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much for your conversation.
You're calling from where?
If you can increase
I'm
his
calling
volume.
from Lokoja, Kogi State.
Okay, Abdullahi from Lokoja, you know, raise your voice a little bit so that you can be more louder. And go ahead.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Yes, I'll be listening to your comments.
Okay.
The Nigeria politics, it has gone beyond control. Because what we are observing in this country is what mouth cannot talk. You as a journalist that you are giving us the highlights. You reach some certain time you cannot even air it again. Once you air it, for sure you. This is the country we find ourselves.
Okay.
You know, before we get it right, it's like this generation will be quenched. Because a lot of people have tried to bring justice to this country. The politicians said no. The military era is more far away, better than what we are observing today in this country. So that they said in all these days, they said democracy is better than military rule. But what we are observing, that Almighty God give us a long life to see what is going on. It's like military era is far better than what a politician gives us today on the table.
Thank you, Abdullahi, for your thoughts. We appreciate you for calling in to contribute with your perspective. Let me reiterate that the worst democracy is better than any military regime.
Exactly.
Military regime is an aberration, it's a no-no. But he has expressed his views, in accordance with the constitution that gives him the freedom to bear his mind. Doctor,
I think it is this type of mindset that has delayed the entrenchment of democracy in our country. They thought that the military is better, has cost us so much that we are beginning to learn what we're supposed to have learned all these years. Let us make our mistakes and learn from them. Let us take note of the gray areas that needs to be amended.
And that's exactly what we're doing.
So the idea of thinking that the military era is better should be discarded. It should be disabused in our mind. Although we are witnessing worst form of governance, that doesn't mean that we are not learning. We are learning. We are progressing. Like as I was saying, the fact that we see politics as a do or die is also responsible for the reason for violence.
Okay, let's take this caller. But I want you to continue on this line of thoughts when we come back to you. Go ahead. We've lost the callers, so go ahead.
All right. So that, like as I said, the politicians have learned to make their own election day budgets. They will budget for money they spend.
Okay, we have a caller. Hello, we've lost him. The lines are epileptic. Please don't get despaired. Keep calling in. It's part of the things we are talking about in this country. Things are hardly, hitch-free, and including the network, the communication networks. But don't get despaired. Like I said, keep calling in. You may get through, and then you can verbalize your thoughts for us this afternoon. Doctor, go ahead on your line of thoughts.
You see, when a president could come out publicly to say, this election is a do or die. That's what we had in 2003 by today's elder statesman, Olusegun Obasanjo. And again in 2023, we had snatch it, run with it, by all means, win.
Okay. Incidentally, Dr. Obadea Mbila, we have a package on politics of do or die. We're going to run the story so that our viewers will get to hear what Nigerians are saying with regards to politics of do or die. And then after that, we'll come back to the studio. You'll continue with your line of thoughts on the topic of do or die politics in Nigeria. Please take a listen.
The conduct of a free and fair election is a major feature of democracy because it gives legitimacy to the government, and it is a prerequisite for positive socio-political development in any given society. Nigeria's political history is replete with unpleasant cases of election rigging, a different kind of politics where people come to power by all means known as do-or-die politics.
Do-or-die politics in Nigeria context is the politics of force, politics of selfishness, politics of few people, autocratic people making sure that their will has a way and meets majority decision.
But this issue of do-or-die affairs, the mission and the objective behind going to that place to serve the citizen is what people don't really understand. If you're really going there to serve the people, it won't be a do-or-die affairs. Imagine me calling to you, to call you, to come and help me do some farm work. You will not be happy to do it because it's a tedious work. But because of what you gain from doing that job, you now want to do it at all costs.
Like any other human behavior, perceived election rigging can be influenced by a number of factors, which may be internal or external, short-term or long-term. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, electoral malpractices are palpable illegalities committed with a corrupt, fraudulent, or sinister intention to influence an election in favor of certain candidates by means such as illegal voting, bribery, cheating, and undue influence, intimidation, and other acts of coercion exerted on voters.
It impedes economic progress. The economy will not be stable because the people will always be angry at you, the ruler, because they know that you forced yourself on them. Now, we have disobedience to constituted authority and to the law and the constitution of the country, of that very country. Nigeria not an exemption in this discourse. What do we mean? Do or die politics will not make the people to be loyal to the government or the day, because they do not want that man. Whether the man came in through bribery, through corruption, through, money laundering, or just distributing, just buying the conscience of people and using talks and eliminating opponents, everything still boils down on the fact that people will not take that leader serious. Even if it does good, it will not count to them. Number 3, it brings political apathy. Political apathy is hatred toward political affairs, anything called politics. The youths may not want to hear anything called politics.
As Nigerians, we must realize that falsifications of results, fraudulent announcements of defeated candidates as winner, with or without altering the recorded result, is electoral fraud, while the illegal interference with the process of an election to bring about a desired election outcome shall be tantamount to a rape of democracy.
Do or die election, so we make sure that the wrong candidates emerge and begin to rule, so that those who don't really have enough prowess and ability to change things will not make good laws or bring out good things that can help shape the country, move us forward.
It may not be able to survive without addressing it. It's like you have some weeds on top of your house and you are cutting it at the head. It will also germinate again when rain comes. But when you uproot it from the root, then you solve the problem once. Until we are able to address this one, it is then we can have or practice what is genuine politics in Nigeria.
You're welcome back. If you're just joining us, you are still on to Ondo Decides 2024, coming to you live from the Abuja studios of King Adebayo Film and Theatre Arts Network, commonly referred to as KAFTAN Television. We have our correspondent Temitope Adedeji standing by in Akure, the Ondo State capital. I don't know particularly what polling unit he is or where he's reporting from, but he's going to tell us now. Temitope Adedeji, how are you? Good afternoon today.
Yeah, good afternoon. How are you? How is Abuja?
We're fine. I hope you are safe there, wherever you are.
Yes.
Where?
Yes, we are safe. I'm safe.
Where are you reporting from, and what can you tell us ongoing now, please?
Yes. Of course, I'm reporting live now from Akure, the Ondo State capital. We've just moved around with the resident electoral commissioner of the state, in person of Mrs. Oluwatoyin Babalola.
Okay.
And together with the assistance of the commissioner of police, in person of CP Abayomi. So, of course, we've moved around the city to about 4 different local governments of the state, the federal local government, the Idori local government, Akure South, and Akure North.
Okay.
So right now, as I speak to you, we are just back to the headquarters of INEC in Akure.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Since when you took off in the morning, when the accreditation commenced and thereafter voting commenced, what can you tell us about the turnout?
Accreditation commenced at exactly 8:30 this morning, yes, and some of the officials of the Independent National Electoral Commission, they arrived their duty post on time, and after that,
the security
there are some occurrences where a particular person was arrested for putting money at the back of his boot. His name happened to be the suspected vote buyer. His name is Otito Laye. Yes, his name is Otito. Yes.
Otito, okay.
So at the end, yes. So at the end of the day, he was apprehended. He was questioned by the men of DSS. So far so good. He has been handed over to the Nigerian police. Then where we now went to later after that, most especially at Idori, where we met just a very low turnout. Yes, very low turnout.
Okay, this Otito.
Yes.
This Otito that was arrested, does he belong to a political party?
Yes, he belongs to a particular political party.
Can you tell us that?
He belongs to a particular. Yes, the political party he belonged is APC. Though he argued that the money found at his boot happened to be the money that is meant for the party agent. Yes, though further investigation will be carried out by the Nigerian police. So at the end of the day, definitely I want to believe that they will get back to us on that. So he said the money was meant for the party agent.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
The money was meant for the party agent.
Okay, Deji, well done there. Like, how much was found on him, please?
Oh, at that particular time, at that material time, the total amount of the money could not be ascertained. Why? Because the money was found in 2 different Ghana must go bags.
Okay.
2 different Ghana must go bags. So for them to bring out the money, start counting, it will take time.
Okay.
So,
was he wearing any
definitely,
party
yes.
tag
So,
as an agent?
No doubt about the fact that he was caught. The money was seen at the back of his boots, and the money was brought out. So the Ghana must go bag was opened, and the 2 bags were full of Nigerian money.
So
during election, only essential workers are allowed to move around. Did he come out as an essential worker or a party agent, or what was he claiming?
Yes, we should understand our system here in Nigeria. You know, of course, restrictions have been made on everybody except the essential workers. But the political people, they will just want to flout the laws of the land. So at the end of the day, of course, he was apprehended towards that.
Was he wearing any?
We will have to leave that side for the Nigerian police to do justice to that.
Was he wearing any tag that identified him?
He wasn't. He wore native and a Camry car, more or less like a Hatchis/mix color.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Let me ask you, the youth demographic constitutes the highest number of percentage, that's 33.9% of voters in Ondo State. How was their turnout?
The turnout, honestly speaking, was low in those local government areas that we taught this very afternoon, since morning to this afternoon. There are some areas like Akpomo, there is a particular place there called Idori Akpomo Ward.
Okay.
Yes, the turnout was so low, so low. In fact, I had to ask some of the residents there that what actually happened. They too could not even give a particular answer to it. They said, in fact, the turnout was so surprising that they could not even really pick out a reason why they were witnessing a very low turnout at that material time. But by and large, some areas experienced a very low turnout, very, very low turnout, and some areas, at least averagely, some people came out. But jokingly, I asked one of them, the voters, that why are they having this kind of turnout? What the person told me then was that people are hungry and people are hungry. An hungry man is, an hungry man is an angry man. That was the language he used for me at that material time. So I was just joking with the person when he now relayed that to me. So definitely I want to believe that from the joking pattern of the whole situation, it seems, of course, yes, people are not happy with the situation of the country. So they decided not to come out en masse as usual to cast their votes and to exercise their franchise.
Okay, Ikaite
well
wants to ask a question. Go ahead.
I want to ask, I got an earlier report that the polling units were inaccessible for the people with disabilities. What do you have to say about that?
A follow-up to that question, to our question, is still on people living with disability. We have, there are 1,782 people living with disability, constituting about 0.09% of the voting population. How, you know, what kind of smooth sail do they have, or challenges do they encounter?
Yes, that question was put across to the REC, that is the Resident Electoral Commissioner, that what provision so far been made for the people with disability. She answered us then that, of course, they made provision for them, and they've instructed, often and often, even far before now, on radio and television stations, that they should allow and they should encourage the people with disability, whenever they come out to vote, to cast their vote, they should be allowed, they should be encouraged. But unfortunately, with what we've been witnessing since, is as if even the people with people living with disability, they didn't even come out. They didn't even come out.
Okay.
If in a polling unit of about 751 registered voters, if we could be having like about 95 voters coming out to vote, definitely it shows that people living with disability there definitely will not be much. By the time we moved around all these places, we could not even see one of these people. I mean, people living with disability. We didn't see any at all.
Okay.
Throughout our movement across 4 local government areas of the state. So it shows that at the end, definitely, people are not just too happy with the situation on ground.
Okay.
Hungry man, as the other man said the other time, is an angry man. So definitely people are not really coming out, probably because of the situation of the country.
Okay.
So but if we should check our time now, this is almost 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
At least there should still be time for voting, but in most places, we cannot even see any voters anymore.
Okay.
People have gone back to their various houses, you know, just like that.
Okay, Temitope, we're winding down. Finally, let me ask you, apart from the isolated case of this Otito gentleman that was arrested by the police, are there reports of, you know, security breaches across the state, anywhere you've heard of?
I'm with you, go on, I'm with you.
Have you heard of any security breaches, you know, any of the polling units, apart from this Otito that was arrested?
Yes, there is one. There's the last polling unit we go to at Obaile in Akure North local government, very close to Akure Airport. That is the polling booth of the Commissioner for Youth and Sport. That's Honorable Zakari Yusuf Ogunleye.
Okay.
His polling unit, yes, the Commissioner of Police had to come down from his car. And all of us, we now try to ask questions. We saw some people there trying to foment trouble, and at the end of the day, it was settled for them. But we later realized that, you know, this issue of vote buying, from the section of the Commissioner of for Youth and Sports wanted to do so, and some people are depriving them that no, that must not be done. But immediately they saw the Commissioner of Police, because I was in the convoy of the Commissioner of Police with that of the Resident Electoral Commissioner, and they quickly, they changed the topic at the end of the day. But, as a journalist, you just have to do your findings. And what they told us, or what they told me initially and later, was that the Commissioner wanted to do that kind of trading, and people were restricting him from doing so.
Okay, finally, and last but not the least, what is the assessment of, in 30 seconds, the assessment of the performance of INEC in terms of preparation, security agencies, and
INEC in Ondo State, in fact, they've done tremendously well.
Beautiful.
In fact, the beavers really worked perfectly well. No complaint from any quarters. At least, if we've been able to move around for local government and about more than enough polling units, no single complaint from the voters and that of the officials of the INEC. So it shows indeed that they really prepare for this election. And with the look of things, definitely, I want to believe that we're going to have a free, fair, and credible poll at the end of the day.
Thank you so very much, Temitope Adedeji, our correspondent on ground in Akure, the Ondo State capital, doing so well to monitor elections that are ongoing. Please remain safe. We'll keep tab on situation. We'll get back to you later in the course of the show. Thanks so very much. Doctor, you have heard what you said. Can you respond to that in 40 seconds? Because we're winding down.
I'm impressed to learn of the adequate preparation by the electoral umpire, INEC. I'm so glad to hear that. I'm also, I have not really known Ondo State as a violent-prone state. So far, so good. We expect the best to come out from this election. Of course, voters' apathy, we know it will be there. Hungry man is an angry man. People are saying, why should I vote? After all, it can't put food on my table. So it's a challenge to our...
I wanted to ask Doctor his expectation. He has gone ahead to preempt the question by saying he expects the best from the ongoing voting exercise in Ondo State. And that's how we can go on today's edition on Ondo Decides 2024 from Ekaite.
Well, the people have, I'm actually impressed on the situation we have had from Ondo State. Bye for now. I remain Ekaite Ivot.
Doctor, thanks for joining us on Ondo Decides 2024.
It's my pleasure.
From me, Macaulay Honahashi, is bye-bye and see you tomorrow. We're going to open our studios at 10 o'clock. Thanks for watching and thanks for being there.
Governance refers to mobilizing the people of a country in the best direction possible. It ensures proper utilization of all the resources of the state for its citizens, which ensures sustainable development. However, anger at political elites, economic dissatisfaction and anxiety about rapid social changes and misguided policy over the years have fueled political upheaval in among citizens in the country.
The misguided policies are those policies that are unreasonable and unsuitable. Policies are made to enhance the welfare of the populace or the citizens. So when it is not reasonable or unsuitable is termed to be misguided. Let's take, for instance, some few months ago, the Minister of Education came up with a policy that for you to get to the university now, for you to get admission from SS3 to university level, you must be 16 years and above. And then the question is, how realizable and how suitable is such policy?
The fundamental role of fiscal policy, monetary policy, and trade policy cannot be overemphasized in any economy, especially in terms of economic management. In Nigeria, and democratic values include a set of principles that form the basic of democratic governance.
One of the major ways you can use in making policies align with the democratic dispensation is transparency, deliberation, inclusiveness. When I mean inclusiveness, I mean for you to say something, you must have to bring the stakeholders to roundtable discussion. Let me use this issue of age limitation to university as an example. Did they even involve the university vice chancellors? Did they involve the educationists in this issue? The Minister of Education is a lawyer. What does he know about education? He's a lawyer.
Notably, the quest to achieve and sustain microeconomic objectives explains the vital roles played by fiscal, monetary, and trade policy in both developed and developing economics, which Nigeria is inclusive.
So, inclusive, or let's say, roundtable discussions involving stakeholders in discussions before you implement any policy will go a long way in helping, because people will bring up ideas, and when they are harnessed, come up with something reasonable.
Before the amalgamation of 1914, there was no country called Nigeria. The geographical space was only being inhabited by different ethnic nationalities. However, several decades after, the country experienced upheavals in its political and social lives. And to tackle the challenges, the country's leadership deemed to it fit to rebrand. And 2009, the Good People, Great Nations phrase was chosen to be the slogan, with a desire for a society in which internet fraud, impersonation, forgery, business email scams, and money laundering is not supported.